Having a healthy brain, we know is important. Here are 6 things that I would do before 2026 that can optimize your brain health. We know there are 6 weeks left before the new year, and there are 6 strategies that I would do to upgrade my brain if I were sitting in your shoes. Some of them are free. Some of them require an investment, but one thing is true about all of them, that they will radically transform the way that your brain functions and the way that your mind thinks so that you can live out the God-given version of you who you were called to be. The most important thing that you can do for free is to spend 30 minutes of solitude every single day with God and the Creator and just have a conversation. It's literally as simple as sitting in solitude and listening to the voice that's inside of you and how you are being guided. I've been doing this every day for months on end, and one thing is true, is that my life has been more peaceful. I have found more purpose and more passion. I feel more excited on the day-to-day, and probably the biggest benefit of all is that I feel less stressed. The question is why? Couple reasons. One, we know that prayer and time with the Lord changes the way that our prefrontal cortex functions. And what it does when we spend time in prayer, when we spend time in solitude, is it actually strengthens the connections within the prefrontal cortex, which allows us to control or have better control over our thoughts, over our emotions, over our memory, over our willpower. And so literally there's tons of neuroscience and tons of research that supports this idea that prayer alone for 30 minutes a day will radically transform the way that your prefrontal cortex works and the way that your prefrontal cortex thinks. One strategy that I go for every single day is I simply ask God, what do you want me to think? What do you want me to say? And what do you want me to do today? And I may repeat that for a full 30 minutes without hearing anything, but the trick is to do it in solitude. So I do no music, I do no TV. At the end of the day, you're not just praying. You're literally rewiring your brain to operate from peace instead of pressure. Number 2 is simply walk. It's that simple. It doesn't require a CrossFit membership. It doesn't require a gym membership. It just requires that you get up and you move your body. The coolest part, added benefit, is that if you walk and you do it outside, it actually stimulates your frontal cortex by doing a number of things. One, driving your legs is super important. 2, when you have things moving by your eyes, it stimulates the brain in a very specific way, all of which is a benefit to your health, and it literally does not cost you a penny. I try to walk 10,000 steps a day, but the number doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of getting more movement that you can get, the better. We were designed to walk much more than 10,000 steps per day. So whatever you can do and however you can get your body up and get it moving is going to be beneficial for your brain, because we know that your body's movement actually puts a stimulus to your brain and makes it stronger. And so the amount of walking that you're doing doesn't matter so much as that you're trying to be diligent about just moving as much as you possibly can. Somebody just made up conveniently 10,000 steps, which is it's a fine starting point, but the reality is that we were designed to move, I believe, upwards of like 14 miles per day, which is 10,000 steps is a fraction of that. Best part about walking is literally anybody can do it. And when you do it outside in nature, it's going to calm your nervous system, it's going to stimulate your brain, and it's going to increase your immune system function. Number 3, prioritizing sleep. Sleep is when your body recovers, it's when your body heals, and it's actually when your body learns. I think most people underestimate how important sleep actually is. So if you want to be more focused, if you want to have better attention, if you want to have better memory, it starts with focusing on your sleep. I think I've never talked to someone who didn't know that sleep was important, but the trick is a lot of people don't know how to go about getting better quality sleep in the first place. And so there's a number of things that you can do, but number 1 is making sure that you can do anything possible to mitigate your exposure to blue light in the 2 hours prior to you going to bed. So that means you can set up a setting on your phone that disables all blue light and allows your phone to just turn red. And there's a 3-click setting that you can do on your phone for that. Buying red lights. So we have red lights in our house now that once it gets dark, we actually turn on those red lights. And I think the lights are called Bond Power. And we just illuminate our house in red because there's no blue in it, and it actually prepares our body to produce melatonin so that we can sleep better in the first place. The other trick, and arguably the most important thing you could do if you're looking to optimize your sleep, is instead of focusing on what time you want to wake up in the morning, set an alarm clock that's your go to bed time, and just be committed to saying no to things that are going to keep you up past that go to bed time. One of the things that I've realized is that when I focus on the time that I want to go to bed, I can naturally get up at the time that I want and get the amount of hours of sleep that I know my body needs to learn better, to focus better, to operate better the following morning. And prioritizing that go to bed time is arguably more important than setting your alarm clock in the morning. You can get free apps where when you set your phone on do not disturb or airplane mode, which is arguably even more important or more beneficial because then you're not getting EMFs near your head while you're in bed, is making sure that you can use an app that will still operate and function when it's in airplane mode. And so I use a special app called Sleep Time that wakes me up at a certain time, and it's slow. The alarm clock comes on slow to wake me up, to ease me out of my sleep instead of just like rapidly getting me out of my sleep. You could buy, there's lamps, there's all kinds of stuff you could do, but I think the more important piece of it is not focusing on those small details, but just realizing that when you prioritize sleep, it is the number one thing that you can do that is absolutely free that will change how you function during the day, how you learn during the day, and how you recover for literally the rest of your life. Number 4, no alcohol. Ouch. I know this one's so painful to some people, but it's so simple, yet it's so massive. And if you understand alcohol, what you have to understand is that alcohol, in order to get a buzz or to get drunk if you drink enough, is that alcohol literally poisons your brain. That's what it does. That's why you feel the way that you do when you drink too much alcohol. Alcohol is literally poisoning your cerebellum, and there's no biohack that you can do to get around that. So instead of going for the alcohol, choose some clean option. There's so many non-alcoholic options now. They have clean, like Athletic Brewing is amazing, has no alcohol, it's gluten-free, it's organic. There are other, just drinking sparkling water. So you get the same benefit of being in the social setting and feeling like you're having a drink, but doing it without the alcohol. That's going to poison your cerebellum. That's going to negatively affect your sleep. And that overall is just going to wreck your health in general long term.
Do you ever make exceptions?
I would have a cocktail at dinner. You have known me, and I have had a cocktail at dinner in the past, but over the last 12 months, I have not had any alcohol at all, and I don't miss it at all because there are too many cleaner, better options that give me the same fulfillment of being in the social setting without any of the stuff that's going to wreck your brain. So if you want a healthy brain, if you want to recover well, if you want to sleep well, skip the booze. So now we move into the pay-to-play side of the conversation. And the first one on the list for me is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBOT. I love hyperbaric oxygen personally for a number of reasons. One, we all know that our body needs oxygen to thrive. So what hyperbaric oxygen therapy simply does is it saturates your red blood cells with tons of oxygen. It makes your body more alkaline, and it puts your body in a more healing state overall. The cool thing about hyperbaric oxygen for me is that I can sit in the oxygen tank and I can get work done while I'm in there. And so it's a double whammy. If you're talking about efficiency and you're talking about effectiveness of things that you could be doing that don't take a bunch of time, you can literally do your day-to-day routine. You could take calls. There's a number of things that you could do, work on your computer, and not miss a beat in terms of keeping up with life while you sit in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. If you can access a chamber, it is definitely worth your time and your money. Our body has to have oxygen to thrive. And so there's a genetic component of it, which I don't fully understand all the details of, but because our bodies experience so much oxidative stress because of EMFs, because of pollution in the air, because of bad food, because of the stress that we're under on a day-to-day basis, oftentimes that's going to leave our oxygen saturation lower than what optimal would be. Hyperbaric oxygen is one of those things that if you have access to a chamber is definitely worth it for your brain health. And finally, number 6, the most powerful thing you can do for your brain is, surprise, I'm biased and I was going to come with this, brain-based chiropractic care. This is the most important, most effective, most powerful way to upgrade your brain because we're looking at affecting the part of the brain that's responsible for your focus, for your memory, for your attention. And there's nothing more powerful than a chiropractic adjustment that I have seen in all the research that would tell us that that's what gets the best stimulus to the brain. When you combine that stimulus to the brain with transcranial photobiomodulation, we shine light onto the brain, and that light creates ATP or energy production within the brain tissue. And then when we adjust the joints of the spine, we allow the brain to be stimulated and it already has energy there to work and create better connections. It's like fireworks, and it is literally magic for your system, creating more calm, creating more focus, creating more attention, and overall putting your body into a parasympathetic or a healing state. And that's what we do every single day here inside Nexus Family Chiropractic is we connect your brain to your body so that you can be more of who God designed you and called you to be. Like, my bias in chiropractic care comes from the fact that when I was teaching and addicted and broken, one of the things that ignited my passion and purpose was getting adjusted for myself. And when I realized that I had a newfound passion, it led me to a place where I felt safe enough to literally quit my job, completely change careers. And so when I say chiropractic, the reason that I'm so biased is because it's literally the one thing that transformed my life. I had read self-help books, I had done meditation, I had done CrossFit, and nothing seemed to work the way that the brain-based chiropractic care that I was receiving had benefited my life. And so for anyone listening, just know that the reason that I have such a bias for it is because I've seen it change me, I've seen it change my family, and I've seen it change thousands of lives of the clients that we worked with inside of Nexus Family Chiropractic. So there you have it, 6 things that you can do before 2026 to radically transform your brain health. Start with the free ones, build the foundation, then layer in the tools. Some of them are an investment that are going to take it to the next level. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend. You know they need to hear it. Or if you're ready to experience brain-based chiropractic care for yourself, then click the link below and you can schedule your neural integrity mapping session where we'll map out your brain and we can get you started on your first visit. I love you, family. We appreciate you. We'll come at you next week. Peace.